Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Unmasked. Thank you so much for all the love and support so far with the first release featuring Richie J, talking about men's mental health. I really appreciate all the support and love you're giving. It's really important. This is what this series is about, is just putting out there into the world, letting everyone know that mental health is such a big issue, and it's all important that we get together and really get that awareness out there. So episode 2 today is going to be another really special episode. I've got a really lovely friend of mine, Liv, and she's actually a healthcare worker. So it's going to be really interesting talking about mental health coming from a healthcare worker, someone right there on the front line of it all. So let's go and meet her. Hey Liv, how are you? I'm good, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Liv, everyone. We met this year, actually. Last year, now it's 2019, I keep forgetting. We met last year. So we shared a lot of really good conversations about mental health because we both have similar experiences. So I thought it'd be really good to get you on the show and talk about your personal experiences, but of course, also mental health coming from someone that works in the industry as well. So I'm pretty excited. Let's go have a chat. Let's do it. So I want to hear what your story is. I mean, obviously we've spoken a little bit before about the, I guess, traumatic situations you've experienced through life, and which has given you the passion to help others. Yeah. Which I think is really beautiful. So for you, I want to go right to the core of it, where it all started. So tell me right now, when did this all start?
I think I've had mental health issues and known about mental health for a really long time, even when I was younger. Probably when I was around 7, and then it just branched from there. So with little things like with parents that, not parents, but my mother's partners that were really abusive to her. So watching that as I was growing up, and then I think being very, very sheltered to everything, not wanting to be around anything because I thought that the world was a type of horrible place. And then obviously being molested, and as I've said to you before, from when I was 9 until 13, and that was a very big thing in my life. And then obviously when I got older as well, having a mother who was on drugs and doing all that, and growing up around such major events that don't usually come all together. And I think that from all of that, probably from the age 13, that was when I knew that I wanted to work around mental health. I wanted to really, really pursue something that could help people that struggle with so many different things. And I'm thankful for the things that I went through, purely because it's like I can have a conversation with somebody about multiple topics, and I've experienced it. So it's a lot easier for me to be able to say, hey, I've been through this. I'm not just saying it to you from a book. I'm not reading out of something. Just because I work in the healthcare system doesn't mean that I'm doing everything from the book in the sense of with my knowledge. I'm telling you from my experience. I'm empathizing with you on a totally personal level. So I think that's a really, really, really big thing for me.
Yeah, and look, that's really beautiful to hear as well, that you want to make a positive impact around the world with people that have been through similar experiences with yourself. And this is something I'm really big on about, and that is, unfortunately, there's not enough people around the world right now that can empathize with people going through mental health problems in their life. So I want to rip that apart as well, and really teach people, educate and motivate people to be there and to empathize with one another. So for you, how can we kind of strip it all back to the basics and get people, male and female, no matter from where they are around the world, whether they've experienced mental health or not, mental health problems or not, how can we get people actually wanting to be there for one another and help each other and care for one another?
I think the people with the mental health need to kind of take that step forward and not think so much about what other people think and how they're going to react, because at the end of the day, the only person that them holding it in is going to affect is them. And I think completely disregard people that aren't going through it, but even then, a lot of people go through mental health. Anybody can go through it. So at some stage in your life, no matter how old or, they're going to go through something that they feel like is mental health. They feel like it's some sort of depressive stage. They feel like it's anxiety. They feel like there's suicidal ideations, everything like that. the people that are majorly suffering, and anybody that's even just a little bit suffering, because we all have our own worst, need to just speak out. And then that way it'll start almost like an effect, like a domino effect. As soon as one person speaks out, another person will speak out, and it's just a matter of getting that domino effect started. So
yeah, and look, in your experience as well, and I want you to be completely real and honest with me right now, do you really feel like mental health is getting better or worse?
I think that, don't get me wrong, it's spoken about a lot more, but people with mental health aren't speaking about it more. So I think that, while everybody's saying, mental health, whereas prior it wasn't so much spoken about, the people with the actual issue are still sitting back and saying, no, I don't want to say anything, because there's still the people in the world that are going, you're just doing this for attention. You're everything that you're doing is for attention, and it's not. And I think that it's a massive, massive thing, because all I want is for people to be like, yeah, it is okay to discuss these things. But I think it definitely takes more than one person. It takes more than a couple hundred people to be able to say, right, well, mental health needs to get better. And because I personally think that while, yes, it is getting better in society and everything like that, it's definitely not spoken about as much as it needs to be, and it's not accepted. Like, as soon as you tell somebody that you have mental health issues, that you've got depression or anxiety, people look at you in a different way. They do. They really do. They look at you like, oh, now I have to start being careful. And it's like, I have mental health issues, I have depression, I have anxiety, but if you start treating me in a different way, I'm going to start treating you in a different way, because I'm like completely normal. It's who I am. It's a part of who I am. And at the end of the day, I don't mind speaking about it, but treat me in a different way and it'll be a whole different story. I'll go crazy. No, kidding.
Yeah, no, look, that's a very fair point too. And, it's one of those things where if you ask someone that is trying to be open about the way you're feeling, depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies, you might have bipolar, or you might have had an eating disorder, something like that. This is a very good point to talk about, and that is, if you are being open and honest with what you're experiencing, but you are instantly being knocked down, it might be from friends, family, or someone, what are ways we can, I guess, work with to ensure that everyone can speak freely, but also give them that backbone to realize that, look, not everyone's going to understand, but it's very important you get it out there. What are some tips you can kind of share in your experience?
My biggest thing has been that I've been able to tell people that I've worked with as well, especially, with all ranges of mental health, and I've literally worked with a lot, is that just speak to somebody. And there's so many different ways that people like to do things. Some people don't like speaking to professionals, but as soon as I sit down with somebody, for instance, that has some sort of mental health issue, I like to kind of say, look, there's no judgment whatsoever. I'm not like, this is completely off the record. Nothing I'm asking you now is for the benefit of anybody else. I'm just wanting to get to know you more. And I think for people, they really need to figure out what's good for them, what works for them, whether it's drawing, whether it's whether it's motorbike riding, whether it's something completely extreme. Go and do it. There's absolutely nothing holding you back from that, and doing what you need to do as an outlet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So, look, working in the industry that you work in, what are ways that people can, let's say in a perfect world, you had one wish, and that wish would be granted. Now I'm asking you, mental health wise, if you could change the issues with mental health, what would it be? It's a tough one.
I do think it would be the fact that people could speak out freely.
Yeah.
Because I'm not ashamed of having mental health issues, and I don't think that anybody else should be, because it makes them who they are. And no matter how much you think that you might be a different person, you need to kind of sit back and go, right, I am who I am. I have done the things that I have done. I have seen the things that I have seen because of who I am. And who I am, mental health is a part of. Don't try and wish it away. Don't try and wish that mental health didn't exist, because it's always going to. In the world, every single person, good days never last forever. Bad days also never last forever. That's not to say that you'll never have a good or bad day again. It just means that something else will happen, whether it be good or bad. And it's just something to accept that.
Yeah.
It's just a part of life. And my biggest wish is that people would be open and honest about it and be okay talking about things, rather than feeling so sheltered and just almost victimized and alienated because something's wrong with them, when nothing's wrong with them at all. It just makes them who they are.
Yeah, and for people that are suffering from mental health problems, it's really important to know as well that just because you're going through this now, as you said, it isn't going to last forever. But I know a lot of people, and including myself years and years and years ago, I was worried that being depressed, having anxiety, and already having suicidal thoughts and having some sort of addiction would ruin any chance I would ever have to have a job ever again, whether that be in the military, the police force, the service, whatever it is. Now, that we all know that's not true. So for people going through, like, right now, a situation, it's important to know that it's not going to last forever, and that there is hope for you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it doesn't mean you can necessarily stop yourself from, like, going and achieving your dreams and your goals.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, from what I have been, what I have come from, it's a very different story. And when people find out what I've been through, they're like, oh my God, how did you manage to pull yourself through all that, you know? And I think, you know, a lot of people thought that I would have either have committed suicide or have become a drug addict, or you know, just like a downright kind of hoe in a way, because of all the things that I've been through. But it's like, no, like, that doesn't shape who I am. I get to decide what I do. And I think healthcare worker for me, such a big thing, because it's like, I'm right there. I'm able to imprint the way that I see things and the way that I deal with things onto a lot of people, and I'm able to say, well, hey, actually, I'm not just saying this to you, I've actually been through a fair bit, and this is where I am now. Like, you know, full-time university student, doing my nursing degree, and then doing the healthcare worker position that I am doing at the moment, and then just everything in general. And it's like, even when you and I talk, or when any of my friends are feeling down, I'd love to be the first person there, not because I'm seeking drama, but because I want to be the person to help. I want to make you feel better about everything.
Yeah, exactly. And there needs to be more people out there just like you doing that, and that's why this series in particular is so important, and getting the awareness out there, because together we can literally make the world a better place, and just us talking about this is going to help at least one person out there. I mean, look, you've brought up a lot of, like, valid points today, and I really appreciate everything you said, because I know it is going to help a lot of people out there. I guess the only thing to finish off now is, I mean, have you got any, you know, other further quick tips for anyone that is going through a tough time? Because you said, you know, just because I'm going through some sort of mental health problem now, okay, it's not going to shape who I am in a negative way. I don't have to be that person for the rest of my life, and someone shouldn't be, I guess, disgusted at me by saying and admitting that I have a mental health issue. So, yeah. I mean, what would you say? I mean, obviously, hang in there, it's going to get better, but...
It may not feel like it's going to get better, but I almost guarantee it will, just depending on how you look at it. I'm a big believer of, you know, anything that happens, whether it's good or bad, it's only good or bad because you look at it that way. So you're going through something bad, honestly, just dwell on it for a moment. There's no point dwelling on it for a long period of time. What happened yesterday, what happened an hour ago, happened an hour ago, happened yesterday. You can't change it. Nothing you can do can change it. So what can you do for your next hour, or the next day, or the days after that, or the weeks after that? What can you do to make yourself look at it better, to prepare yourself for a good day. You know, I have bad days, I'm not going to deny that, but I think that was my biggest issue that I had when I was younger, is that I would sit so much and I would dwell and dwell and dwell, and I just overthink everything, and I'm going, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And now I look at things and go, right, that was pretty crap, but I'm just gonna keep going and see how the rest of my day goes. As soon as I do that, as soon as I'm like, whatever, and just kind of throw it over my back, everything's fine and I feel okay. Might not work for everybody, but I guarantee if you give it a shot and try and think positively, try and sit on something for a short moment of time and not a long time, it's definitely going to make a big difference.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I well and truly believe in the power of the mind, and that if you put your mind to anything, you can literally achieve it. And I know for me, when I was depressed and had suicidal tendencies, I would just constantly try and think something positive and say, you know what, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get through this. And then of course, you know, one day you will see the light at the tunnel and realize that your mind is a very powerful thing, and you can get through literally any experience that is happening through life.
I think as well, you know, it happens very, very quickly. It's not it's in the sense of one day, like, you know, for a couple of days or a couple of years, you're feeling really, really low. You're at such a low point and you're going, nothing can pull me out of this. And then when you start to think a little bit differently, it feels like you're getting nowhere. It really does feel like you're getting nowhere, until one day you just keep saying it to yourself that it is going to get better. I am going to do what I want to do. Nothing that anybody says or does will shape who I am, will change who I am, will affect me. And even though you might still feel low in those moments, keep saying it to yourself. Keep continuously saying it. And I'm not joking. It'll be like one day something will happen. You won't even notice that the difference has changed, but then something will happen. You'll walk along, you go, oh, that didn't affect me how it used to. And then when that moment happens, it's like your whole body just feels just engulfed in just this happiness. And it's a momentary happiness, but it's there. And then you think to yourself, you know, I am strong enough to do this. This is me.
Yeah, you are preaching to the choir 100%. Like, that's it. We learn, we grow, it takes time, learning experience, educate yourself. You're 100% right. That's honestly, this has been so refreshing chatting with you, and especially coming from the fact that, you know, you are someone that has gone through a lot, and now you are channeling that into a lifetime career, you know, helping other people, and that's what I think is really beautiful. And you know, that is why I've created this series is to make it very clear that, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are around the world, you can literally be and do everything that you want to do. And if one of those things is helping people, then just get started. It's as simple as like picking up a camera, you know, talking to people, getting that awareness out there is so important. So Liv, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. You're an absolute gem. Yeah, thank you. Really, thank you.
That's all right.
Hi everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Of course, today we were talking with Liv, and it was a really special moment to talk about the experiences that you've been through, and of course the amazing work you're doing right now. And look, for all of you watching right now, if you do want to be a part of the series, it's as simple as just sending me a video, telling me about your story. I'd really like to meet you and get you involved, and you know, the more people that get involved, the better. You know, the better chance we have at getting that awareness out there and definitely making the world a better place. And please too, if any of this hits really close to home, I'm gonna leave some links in the bio down below for hotlines, you know, people you can chat to, and ways that you can get out there and talk about your feelings. Really do appreciate you watching this series, and we'll see you on the next episode.